GOP presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis facing some serious backlash now over a video his campaign tweeted out. It knocks former President Trump for his vow to protect LGBTQ plus Americans. The ad includes the sarcastic caption, quote, "To wrap up Pride Month, let's hear from the politician who did more than any other Republican to celebrate it." Here's some reaction from both sides of the aisle. Take a listen.
I wish they would focus and focus their attacks on war criminals like Vladimir Putin, not my friends in the LGBTQ community.
I just don't understand the mentality of somebody who gets up in the morning thinking that he's going to prove his worth by competing over who can make life hardest for a hard-hit community that is already so vulnerable in America.
Let's bring in Karl Rove, former Deputy Chief of Staff for President George W. Bush, also a Fox News contributor. So, Karl, I want to know what you make of this. DeSantis jumped headfirst into this roaring debate about treatment or mistreatment of LGBTQ Americans. Seems like an unforced error.
Yeah, look, at the heart of it, it is mystifying. Let's start off by that. But at the heart of what he has done are things that have a great deal of popularity. He has signed a law saying biological males cannot participate in women's sports. He said we won't have discussion of gender in kindergarten through, I think it's grade 3 or 4, and we will only have age-appropriate sex education after that. These are the kind of things that people are strongly in favor of. But this ad makes it look like he glories, or his campaign is glorying in attacking the LGBTQ community, and I do think it's an unforced error. I mean, he's got a record that he could take to people and say, I stand for traditional values, and here's what I've done. And the kind of things that I mentioned earlier are, like 2-to-1 winners. But this was an odd video delivered at an odd time, and maybe they wanted the controversy. If they did, they're getting it.
Related to this, Chris Christie had a reaction. I want to see if you think he's on target with what he says in this clip. Take a listen.
It is a teenage, food fight between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. And I don't think that's what leaders should be doing. And it certainly doesn't make me feel inspired as an American on the 4th of July weekend to have this type of back and forth going on at all.
So is the treatment of LGBTQ people and trans people a teen food fight issue in America right now? Or is it something that's really lighting up the political debate on both sides of the aisle?
Well, I don't think it's lighting up the debate, but I think what Governor Christie was talking about there was the nature of how these two men have attacked each other. Remember, President Trump attacked Governor DeSantis by calling him Ron Sanctimonious and having other sort of childish nicknames for him. And I thought this particular video was ill-formulated and a mistake on the part of the campaign, the DeSantis campaign. If they wanted to talk about what he had done, they could talk about it in a way that people would applaud. Most Americans believe biological males don't deserve and shouldn't be participating in women's sports. Most Americans believe you shouldn't be discussing gender with kids in the kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, and that you should only have age-appropriate sex education, and parents need to know what that is all about. But that's not what this video was about. It was about provoking a fight with Donald Trump by pointing a finger at him and then, weirdly depicting the governor's viewpoint on it.
Take a quick listen to Nikki Haley over the weekend. I want to see what you think about where she is.
I think that we can look at past presidential elections and understand that national polls just don't matter right now. I mean, we've got a debate in August. We've got a debate in September. We've got a debate in October. I have qualified to be on the debate stage. Having been 3% in a 5-way governor's race, I know that this is all about hard work.
Is it true that the national polls don't matter until after debates?
Well, we haven't had these many debates this early in many contests. But, yeah, look, in 2008, at this point, Rudy Giuliani was leading the Republican contest, and Hillary Clinton was 2.5 to 1 above Barack Obama, who is thought to have stumbled early and didn't really get his sea legs until November. So plenty of time for this contest to shape up. And, yes, national polls at this point don't mean a lot. Polls in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina, the early primary states, those do matter somewhat more.
Those are the ones to keep an eye on. Karl, Could keep you here all weekend, all hour, I should say. I keep thinking today's Friday because tomorrow's a holiday. Could keep you here all hour. Thanks so much. Got to let you go now.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.